Hello, good evening, and welcome to Joy News Prime. We are coming to you live from our studios here at Koko Meme in Accra. We are live on DSTV, channel 421, GoTV 125, and around the world on myjoyonline.com. I'm Carlos Caloni.
And I am Faustina Safo. Tonight, President John Dramani Mahama sparks fresh debate on controversial constitutional provision as he announces the next batch of MMDCEs may be elected. We'll bring you details as a special review committee is currently engaging key stakeholders to outline the path towards electing the MMDCEs.
Well, tensions flared again on Parliament vetting committee as the majority and minority clashed, this time over alleged interference and veiled threats of political retaliation. Details from the vetting committee where the Supreme Court Justice nominee calls for amendment of Article 286 to prescribe sanctions for government appointees who fail to declare assets within shadow.
Also tonight, Education Ministry orders nationwide audit into feeding arrangements under the Free SHS program. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the friction between chairman of the Appointments Committee, Bernard Anyafo, and the ranking member, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, shows no sign of easing. This time, during the vetting of the Supreme Court nominee, Justice Hafizata Amelububa, over claims of interference and threats of political payback. Tensions escalated after the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, stepped in to follow up on a question about salary sanctions for appointees who missed the president's April 17 asset declaration deadline. James Aveji has more from Parliament.
The first disagreement between Minority Leader Alexander Afenyo-Markin and Chairman Bernard Anyafo came up when the chairman admitted a follow-up question from Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga on Afenyo-Markin's probe as to whether or not there was wrongdoing when President John Mahama imposed salary restrictions on appointees who violated his earlier April 17 deadline for declaring their assets.
Chairman, this strategy by the majority that they have their time. When it gets to my time, then I have follow-up. Anyway, I will yield to you. If you, Chairman, would want to allow these things, no problem. Follow up and think that you will be distracting me.
Honourable members, I believe everybody must be treated equally, particularly the leaders. There are instances where the minority leader called for a follow-up question and has been granted the floor to ask a follow-up question.
The ranking member again registered his protest when Bernard Anyafo insisted that the nominee should not answer a question to the same matter which he believed was answered earlier. The two grew furious, with the chairman insisting that he cannot be intimidated by the posture of his ranking.
I cannot be intimidated by you. I'm a man with indomitable spirit. I still rule that a question has been asked. The nominee will not answer this question again. Pose another question.
Finally, the committee made headway as a nominee, Justice Hafizata Amelububa, established that there is a void created by the Constitution when it failed to provide specific sanctions for failure to declare assets within a specific period.
Honourable Chair, as has been stated, that there is no punishment regime, then what it would mean is that there's a lacuna in the law, and that must be addressed. It would need some deliberation on how this should proceed. For instance, presently we have the Constitutional Review Committee sitting. So if proposals are made to it on how to proceed, it can compile these proposals for the necessary action to be taken.
On other matters, she disagreed with assertions that Chief Justices influence the outcome of cases through the choice of justices they empaneled for some particular cases.
I believe that in the empaneling of judges, the Chief Justice performs an administrative function. Now, this administrative function is a function that has been given her by the Constitution. And I do not believe that it would or should influence the kind of decisions taken on the bench, because the Supreme Court justices of the bench are experienced, independent-minded jurists who should be able to take independent decisions.
The committee rose without vetting the final nominee, Justice Kwekutewia Akabuafo, even though he was scheduled for Wednesday, June 18. It is unclear when that vetting will be done. James Saveji, Parliament House, Accra.
Well, away from Parliament, President John Mahama has sparked fresh debate regarding a controversial constitutional provision that ensures that metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives are appointed instead of elected. Today, the president announced this may finally change with the election of MMDCEs. The matter of electing MMDCEs has long divided opinion in Ghana, with one side calling for partisan elections to ensure political accountability, while others insist the process should remain non-partisan to safeguard local development. Now, speaking at the Jubilee House to newly appointed MMDCEs, President Mahama revealed that a special review committee is currently engaging key stakeholders to outline the path to electing MMDCEs. Now, joining us now on the phone is Programs Officer of the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, Paul Abrampa-Mensah. Thank you so much for your time. First of all, let me pick your thoughts on the revelations by the president that this may soon happen.
Good evening, my brother, and let me say a very good evening to our listeners and viewers. I see it as a repetition of old promises that said over and over again from previous leaders. And I also see it as a repetition of promises inserted in manifestos, especially by the two leading political parties over the years. So I see nothing special about that. I'll be very more happy when I see the final phase of actualizing this constitution, this manifesto promise, and what the president has just said today.
So as it stands now, you think it's just a rehashing of what they've already been saying, nothing new?
Because we've heard it over and over again. We've read it over and over again in the manifesto. What's the difference between the MPP and the NDC party on this is the format at which you should take. Otherwise, when you pick all their manifestos over the years, they are inserted in them. Even in 2019, that I said it was a near actualization of the promises. They both had it in their manifesto, yet it did not materialize when President Kufuor had given it all for it to start. The only difference is that the NDPP wants it on partisan basis. The NDC also wants it, but on non-partisan basis. That's the only difference. Otherwise, all political parties have had the intent and they have been inserting them in their manifestos to elect MMDC.
So where you see it, where should be the way forward? Should it be on political line?
Well, as I said, because the first constitutional review called for national consensus to determine which format it should take. But we have an Afrobarometer data or successive Afrobarometer data telling us that over 71% of Ghanaians want election of MMDCE, but about a majority of them want it on non-partisan lines. So not until we have further national consensus, we base our arguments on the data. And therefore, for me, I support the NDC version because the data also supports it. So if you experiment it on non-partisan basis, and actually, as we say, constitutions are a working document, and it gets to a point that we realize that it's not helping us and we want to change, they will change. But for now, the data supports a non-partisan election of MMDC.
Right. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on Join Us Prime.
Away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has given all metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives a 1-month ultimatum to declare their assets, warning that compliance with the constitutional requirement is non-negotiable. Well, this comes after a similar directive more than 2 months ago to all government appointees backed by a threat of dismissal. Despite 2 deadlines and a token fine, some have defied the order and are yet to face the president's promised wrath. Now, Mahama is tightening the screws again. Addressing newly appointed MMDCEs in Accra, he stressed that MMDCEs must meet the deadline.
The Auditor General and other anti-corruption institutions will be watching your work. And I've said previously, if any of these institutions starts investigating you, you don't expect me to interfere on your behalf. In the meantime, I wish to remind you that you are among the office holders required to declare your assets. And so I expect that by July 15th, all of you would have declared your assets.
Well, as of April 17, 2025, over 50 government appointees had failed to declare the asset with the Auditor General. In response, President John Mahama imposed a 3-month salary penalty and gave them a new deadline of May 7. But according to investigations by the Fourth Estate, some still missed the extended deadline. Associate Editor at the Fourth Estate, Seth Bokpe, joins me via Zoom as we expand this conversation. Now, to begin with, how many appointees have still not filed their asset as of your most recent check, and can you name them?
So as of May 20th, when we checked, almost all of them have done it. Those we know that the president has appointed have done that.
If you say
it's only that those who the president, there were a few people, the president gave the May 7th deadline as a cutoff point for declaration. A few of them didn't meet that deadline.
So do you know any of the appointees who is actually yet to declare his asset?
As of now, the list we have, they all have done it.
If you say all of them, are you talking about the ministers or all of the appointees?
The ministers, heads of state institutions and their deputies, they have complied with the law. As of May 20th, when we checked.
Right. Do you think this fresh directive to MMDCEs will be effective, considering previous defaulters were not actually sanctioned despite President Mahama's warnings?
Well, I can't say, but if the evidence we gathered after the president's May 5th directive, that by May 7th, they should all do it, is anything to go by, then I'm sure there are a few people who may not. So, for instance, Sheila Azwintaba, who was appointed on April 5th, 2025, did the declaration May 15th. Dr. Naomi, she's the Deputy Managing Director of the Consolidated Bank Ghana. Dr. Naomi Walali Kwete, who is the Managing Director of the same bank, appointed on March 28, 2025, did it on May 14, 2025. Mustafa Bande, who is the Deputy Director of Operations at the Presidency, was appointed February 6, 2025, did the declaration on May 12, 2025. Dr. Isaac Nimoy Thompson, Chairman of the National Development Planning Commission, who was appointed February 3, 2025, did the declaration on May 12, 2025. Then there is Mubarak Masaudu, who was appointed on April 26, 2025, did the declaration on May 12, 2025.
Right.
So a few of them, if that is anything to go by, then you should expect that some of the MMDCs are likely or may miss the deadline.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. Let's bring in an anti-corruption campaigner, Michael Boydie. Are you satisfied with that revelation that all of President Mahama's appointees have actually declared the asset?
Good evening to your viewers. I can't say I am satisfied because, you see, the Constitution clearly gives timelines of which these declarations are supposed to be done. Compliance is not about compliance at whichever time. it is compliance within the framework or within the time limit for which the law prescribes, or the time limit the law prescribes. Compliance after that time limit or the time frame, consequences must be expected or exerted. If we cannot run the country based on when and as and when we feel like. It's not so. The principle is that it must be done within a certain time frame, and if that time frame is not done, then it is as good as non-compliance. And I said an example that we as citizens are supposed to pay our taxes within a certain time frame. By the 15th, you would have filed your taxes. If you file your taxes after the 15th, yes, you have complied. But you complied after the deadline, and therefore the penalties thereof is suffice. We cannot have a different set of laws for political appointees and different sets of laws for the rest of us citizens. We must be seen to be equal before the law, and therefore compliance includes complying within the time frame which the law states.
All right. Grateful for your time, sir.
Let's shift our attention now to the New Patriotic Party because they're accusing government of using state security to frustrate the collation of parliamentary resource for Ablekuma North constituency. Collation was suspended after reported acts of vandalism by the MP, but the MPP insists the delay is deliberate. The General Secretary, Justin Frimpong-Kodia, tells Joe News efforts to get the police protection for the EC have hit a wall.
And we in the MPP, we also are aware that there's no pending suit at the Supreme Court to prevent the Ghana Police Service from coming to provide security for the Electoral Commission to do its work. So definitely, it's a clear machination. It's a deliberate attempt by the government and the Ghana Police to deny the Electoral Commission from completing the collation of the 3 polling stations because they know that the NDC had lost the elections at Ablekuma North. But if indeed the NDC had won Ablekuma North elections, they would have sped up the process by encouraging the Ghana Police Service to provide security for the Electoral Commission to complete the collation.
Mandy Gabriel is Deputy Director of Election and IT for the NDC and thankfully joins us live here on Joe News Prime. We appreciate your time. Now, the MPP claims that the NDC petitioned the police to delay the process due to a pending court case. Clarify for me, is this the case? Is this the nature of what is exactly is the nature of the petition?
As you said, it's unfortunate the MPP General Secretary saying the NDC is delaying the process. We are not delaying the process. In fact, the NDC wants this process to end because we need to have a representative for Ablekuma North. However, the issue about Ablekuma North, the remaining 37 polling stations, the issue is about the Electoral Commission doesn't have the pink sheet for those polling stations. Indeed, the elections of Ablekuma North, at the end of the elections, there were 116 polling stations that EC don't have the pink sheet. However, the 2 political parties were able to provide carbonate sheets for the polling station of about 62, now remaining 37 to complete the area. However, EC wanted to rely on the MPP scan document, which we oppose that. You cannot use a scan document of a polling station if for election that you don't have any sort of document to check. And that's where the standoff is. In fact, we met last week on the 12th of this month, where we all agree that if the Electoral Commission really wants to solve the issues, we should propose for rerun. So EC has agreed that they will come back to us. But I'm surprised that MPP is now coming back to say that we are delaying the process. It's not a police issue. It's about the EC don't have this pink sheet, and we don't even have any pink sheet to write on.
Is there an active court case initiated by the NDC that justifies holding off the collation?
No. Ablekuma North, we are not holding only the collation from the court process. Indeed, you cannot go to court when election is not declared. You cannot do that. So I'm surprised the MPP is even misinforming the public about those issues. It was police, the EC who went to the police to say they needed security to come and declare the result. But we met the police and told them that if the EC has a pink sheet, we would have allowed for the collation of the result, because we don't determine who wins the election or who don't win the election. But you cannot declare results of elections without a pink sheet that EC has. So the standoff now is a 37 polling station that EC admit that they don't have the pink sheet. We also don't have the pink sheet. But the MPP only has a scanned document. We even asked the MPP if they can provide carbon document of those the polling station. We'll allow the collation to go. MPP say they don't have it. So who is late? The reality is that if the EC really want to serve this country well, they should declare reruns for these 37 polling stations.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your time.
Now, away from that particular story, the Education Ministry says it is dissatisfied with the quality and quantity of food served in senior high schools under the Free SHS program. A nationwide audit has been ordered to improve meals for students across the country. At a press briefing at the Jubilee House, Education Minister Haruna Idrisu revealed plans to reverse the current decentralized feeding system. Under the proposed changes, the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools will oversee perishable items, while the buffer stock company handles grains and other dry foods.
It's not our wish to reverse the decision, not our wish at all. In fact, we decentralized. And as I became minister working with Director General and Free Senior High School, from December till yesterday, we have sent the money directly for them to do the procurement. We've so far 500 to 600 million have been released to them. At least I know 203 million, 208 million, another 100 million released to them. But we are not satisfied with the quantity and the quality of food. That is why we are re-engaging and we are repositioning to share in doing it. We are still at the consultative level, and where appropriate to reverse it, we'll reverse it. Thank you. Ghana Education Service, together with CHARS, it was a pledge in the NDC manifesto to get this back to headmasters, bursars, and others to do it in order to keep the local economy going. But it appears that at many levels, the quantities and quality of the food is just not good enough. Government is considering a reversal of the policy, but at least for perishables and others up to 40% of that provision will still be provided by the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary School, whilst we get a rule for the Ghana buffer stock and then the Ghana Commodity Exchange to deal with grains and others. But for the present, what is important is
Well, on basic education, the minister assured that students who missed a BEC paper due to the recent accident will be assessed pending decision by the Education Service and the West African Examination Council.
BEC, as I said, was successful as a major assessment event. There were a few incidents. In fact, there is a young girl, sickle cell, who got to exam room, was rushed to the hospital, and she passed on. There is another young school pupil who on his way got involved in an accident, and when he got to the exam center late, he was denied writing the exams. And for us as a ministry and government, that should not truncate the career development and growth of the young person. So we investigate and take remedial action to assure them of an opportunity to be assessed. But that determination will be made between the GES and the West Africa Examination Council.
Meanwhile, President John Dramani Mahama has directed that all sanitary pads under the Free Sanitary Pads program be locally manufactured to support local industry and create jobs.
Firm instructions from the president, and the Ghanaian people once again need to appreciate him for that. He's instructed that no sanitary pad will be procured from outside Ghana, and that all of it be produced and manufactured locally. So we're encouraging a number of local Ghanaian entities to set up in the north, the middle belt, western and central region, and will open up in the procurement process in the future in order that would ensure that we do that. Indeed, the Honorable Minister for Interior, the Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, has made a proposal to the ministry that government may even consider a partnership to set up a sanitary pad production unit in the prisons to make use of the labor of prisons to produce it as it pertains in other parts of the world.
While still on education, the Education Minister Haruna Idrisu is calling for a major rethink of Ghana's educational priorities, shifting focus from secondary to foundational learning at the basic level. At the launch of the children's book Twin Trouble, Lost in Paris, the minister argued that continued investment in secondary education alone has failed to produce the skilled, innovative workforce the country needs. There's more in this report.
Minister of Education Haruna Idrisu made a strong case for a shift in Ghana's educational priorities. Speaking at the launch of the book Twin Trouble, Lost in Paris in Accra, he indicated he is in talks with government to redirect focus toward foundational learning at the basic school level. He warns that without urgent reforms targeting the basic school level, the education sector risks further decline.
I have been advancing this argument before President Mahama that Ghana needs to change our posture on education in general. And for it to shift necessarily to supporting and investing in foundational learning. If we get it right at that age, we will get it right when they grow up. Not when you go and invest more in secondary education, less in basic education, and say you are doing well. You are not building a solid foundation.
The book, Twin Trouble, Lost in Paris, follows the story of two sisters navigating life's twists and turns. Lady Megan Amar is the 10-year-old prodigy who authored the book.
So the reason this is my favorite part of the book is because it really shows the bond of the two sisters, that they're not just sisters, they have an emotional connection between them. To show that just when Karen was hiding under the Eiffel Tower, feeling sad, something pulled at her that Camilla wasn't real. I love that part.
Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Nanaba Apiamfo, believes the launch of the book serves as enough motivation in empowering women.
From Ghana to the world, there's so much that we have to offer the world, and I encourage you to do exactly that. You have the talent, you have the ability. So keep writing, Lady Megan, but don't forget where you come from. Be the African that speaks to the world from a uniquely African place with lessons that travel far. We are counting on you to show the world that Ghanaian stories, African stories, are rich, they are funny, they are deep, they are universal and unforgettable.
In attendance at the event were former Chief Executive of Anglo Gold Ashanti, Sir Sam Jonah, former Ambassador to India, Michael Okwe Jr., and Member of Parliament for Sekende, Ejapa Mesa.
Well, you're still watching Joy News Prime with us, Carlos Kalonian.
Faustina Safa will be back after this quick turn. Please stay tuned. Welcome back from that quick turn to other stories now.
Well, Foreign Affairs Minister has revealed that the recent corruption scandal at Ghana's embassy in the United States cost the country over $4 million a year. Samuel Okudzeto-Ablekuma accused former embassy staffer of running a parallel operation, diverting a consular client to a fake website and pocketing government revenue. The embassy was temporarily shut down last month after the scam came to light. More in the following report.
Recall that in late May this year, the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablekuma temporarily closed Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C., alleging some corrupt practices that had taken place there. Well, the findings are out, And the Foreign Affairs Minister is accusing former employee Fred Kwatin of siphoning over $4.8 million annually to his personal bank account, monies which were supposed to have been for the Ghanaian government.
Mr. Speaker, investigations conducted by the top management of our ministry reveals that GTC dispatched between 150 to 350 visas and passports daily. Therefore, on average, about 250 visas and passports were dispatched daily by GTC. Right, Honourable Speaker, this implies that yearly GTC dispatched approximately 62,500 visas and passports. Mr. Fred Kwatin was therefore raking an estimated $1,859,375 United States dollars annually for courier services alone. Mr. Speaker, you can comprehend the substantial sum he earns annually after adding fees for assisting applicants in completing their visa and passport forms, for which he charged between $60 and $100. By conservative analysis, Mr. Fred Kwatin made about $4.8 million annually from his unlawful enterprise. Mr. Speaker, it is important to emphasize that there was no share, there was no revenue sharing arrangement with the ministry. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs had no share. This $4.8 million was controlled totally by Mr. Fred Kwatin.
Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa says the Economic and Organized Crime Office, YOCO, and the Attorney General have been informed of this development and have assured that they will conduct a thorough investigation.
Mr. Speaker, given that these are funds that were derived, Mr. Speaker, given that these are funds that were derived from unauthorized operations, it has become imperative to invite the Economic and Organized Crime Office and the Attorney General to investigate, trace the proceeds, and prosecute Mr. Fred Kwatin and his collaborators as instructed by President Mahama.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says work has since resumed at the Washington Embassy in the United States and has assured that such an incident will not recur. From the House of Parliament, my name is Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
Away from Parliament, some students at the Tamale Islamic Science SHS are spending nights in a damaged dormitory after a weekend windstorm worsened an already weak structure. Deputy Education Minister Dr. Clement Park, who visited the school, directed authorities to request a structural audit from NADMO to assess the safety of the building. Martina Bugri reports.
The building, which has developed serious cracks, peeled paint and broken windows, hints of years of abandonment. It currently houses about 150 students. Inspecting the project, Dr. Park emphasized the need for the audit before determining the next course of action.
Indeed, I have seen that most of this one-story building, the upper part of it, has been ripped off by a rainstorm. As was rightly indicated by the headmaster, this has resulted in the students who hitherto be occupying the upper floor having to join their colleagues on the lower floor. This is making an already bad situation even worse, and that clearly is not conducive for the students, and it doesn't enhance effective teaching and learning. But having gone around to look at the building, I dare say that even before the windstorm, this building was begging for attention. The interaction I've had indicates that nobody actually remembers the last time that this building was renovated. I will ask that we invite NADMO to do a proper assessment of the building for us to ascertain whether it is even fit to serve the purpose for which we want it to serve.
The headmaster of the school, Mohammed Isifu, said the students are currently being accommodated in other rooms with about 40 students per room, far exceeding the ideal 15.
The building that is most affected, but the girls' dormitory, which is at the other side, it affected a portion of it as well. But immediately, management had to request our school carpenter to see what effort he could do to put that particular one in shape. So we asked that he should do it. And where you can see, from here you can see it at that far. I think that he has been able to do some, but it's not yet complete. So the windstorm also affected the girls' dormitory as well. So ideally, a room is supposed to accommodate, normal standard is supposed to be 15 thereabouts. But in our current situation, a room occupies more than 40 students, more than 40, including their chalk boxes, because we don't have room for chalk boxes. We have boxed everything together. So the students are living in the dormitory together with their chalk boxes.
Regarding feeding in senior high schools, Dr. Park mentioned that new modalities are being implemented to address issues of poor quality and food shortage in schools.
Yes, there are always going to be bad nuts here and there, but generally, the reports have been positive. And going forward, we are working with CHAS and other stakeholders to see the best arrangement that would ensure that there is timely provision of food in terms of perishables and non-perishables.
Dr. Park, as part of his visit, was at the Tamale Senior High School, where the BEC candidates are writing, Islamic Senior High School, and the Sakasaka Junior High School.
Well, back here in Accra, emergency efforts are underway after fire ravaged key sections of the National Public Health and Reference Laboratory at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Testing areas, storage rooms, and the account office were all affected, according to the Ghana National Fire Service. Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba Akoriya, who visited the scene, called it a major blow, but says contingency plans and relocation efforts are already in motion. There's more in the following report.
According to the Ghana National Fire Service, the incident occurred around 10:30 p.m. yesterday on Tuesday night. The Ghana Fire Service was able to get here around 12 midnight, according to DCFO Daniela Mausi Into Sapon, who is the Chief Fire Officer for the Ghana National Fire Service. The information that we've picked from the ground, according to our assessments, is that about 5 different rooms housing the accounting office, a chemical laboratory, and also other stores were ravaged by the fire.
Yes, when you came here, you see, we finished quenching all the fire. And there are pockets of fire, so we are trying to cool it down. We got here by exactly 12:15, 12:30 thereabouts. We were able to put the fire under control. And I went to the office of the records and public health and reference lab. And we were able to contain their library, but for the accounts office, their stores, admin, and lab, it's totally down. It was close to the diabetic center. That place too, we were able to salvage, and there was no problem there.
So with regards to the cause of the fire, she can't confirm what really caused the fire at this point, but investigations are underway to ascertain what really may have caused the fire.
No, we have to investigate.
Well, away from that, the Ghana Water Company Limited has arrested an illegal water connection syndicate at cantonments in Accra in its latest crackdown. The communications manager for the Accra East region, Burma Bernie, was part of the team, and he explained that the operators of the facility had long been using water from the company without authorization.
So we got a tip-off. Somebody gave us information that made us discover that Ajua Wangara apartment in cantonments close to Seoul Clinic had done illegal connection. So we came here this morning to find out whether indeed it can be confirmed that they've done illegal connection. We came here, and indeed it was proved that they had done illegal connection. They claim that they have a borehole which they use, so In fact, we don't even build them. It's not as if they have done a bypass. No, it is not a bypass. A complete illegal connection. Since they built the facility, we've not brought them a single water bill because they claim they don't use our water. But you see, every day for thief man, just one day for the owner. So today we've blown their top. We have actually discovered that they have done illegal connection and they are using our water since they built the facility. They have a huge reservoir, underground reservoir, where they fetch the water into that reservoir for their use.
Well, the Accra East Communications Manager also warned of stiff sanctions for those behind the illegal connections, promising swift and decisive action. He urged the public to help clamp down on the practice by reporting offenders, adding that whistleblowers would be rewarded for their vigilance.
We want to throw this caution to our staff. If there is any staff of Ghana Water Limited who is privy to this thievery, this stealing of water that has taken place at Ajua Wangara apartment close to Soul Clinic in cantonments, that staff should start packing his things and leave the office, because definitely we will sack him. We will not just sack him, we will hand him over, him or her, we don't know, him or her to the law enforcement agencies for them to use the law to work on him, to prosecute him. Not only that, the management of the apartment will also be handed over to the police. We also want to plead with members of the general public. We have declared a zero tolerance for illegal connection. And we also have handsome reward for informants, people who give us information which lead to the detection of illegal connection. We pledge that we will protect the identity of every single individual who graciously give us information that enables us to uncover or discover illegal connection.
Well, it's that time of the bulletin where we have in studio Becky Bex for Showbiz.
Hello to you, Carlos. How you doing?
I'm okay. How you doing too?
Oh, fantastic. You look really nice today.
Thank
I like green.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
It's green.
Mm.
You don't have to say anything.
Say.
Let's talk about, Ghana's theater scene, because it's experiencing a thrilling comeback with new and exciting productions, captivating audiences, especially in the nation's capital, Accra. This fresh and vibrant era for theater is becoming a powerful and dynamic part of the creative sector once again. Perhaps the space has become so attractive, thus catching the eye of renowned Ghanaian filmmaker Shirley Frimpong. So the announcement of her debut stage play, Honeymoon Hotel, scheduled for the National Theatre Accra from Friday, June 20 to 22, is generating even more buzz. With a proven track record of crafting compelling stories from the screens, Shirley's bold step onto the stage is building curiosity, and already theatre enthusiasts are already anticipating a good time with Honeymoon Hotel. Shirley spoke to my colleague Doreen Avio on Hit FM this morning, and she's been telling us all about the movie and also about the Ghanaian movie industry.
I don't want to hear that bit. It's dead. Of course it's not dead, I think sometimes it's categorized like that because the progress that you would expect that would have made all these years from the times of Koansan and now we're here now, you would expect that we would have done a lot more for our film industry, whether, you know, they like it or not. We really are the people who opened up this, you know, I'm talking about film in Ghana,
Right.
you know, yes. If you compare what Nigeria is doing now to what we're doing, they're light poles apart, because, you know, somebody in Nigeria, you know, and I don't know if it's government, I don't know if it's
individuals or
private, the private sector and stuff, but somebody decided that, you know, the arts, especially where film is concerned, you know, is going to bring in a lot of business. You know, it's going to create a lot of jobs, and it's, you know, it's going to make real impact. And decided that they were going to make available funding, you know, and be able to put up their cinemas and expand. And now we see what Nollywood is, and it's completely overshadowed us. And I think that's where it, you know, our story becomes very sad. You know, but it doesn't take away from what we are. We're good storytellers. We've got very good actors. You know, I think what needs done is to put some importance to what it is that we do, our arts, especially. You know, film has long legs. You know, a lot of places that I've been outside of the country, and the reason I get through certain doors is because I'm a Ghanaian filmmaker.
Right.
Do you understand? And so you can imagine the kind of impact that it creates out there. So it's not dead. We can do much better. You know, and I don't think it only lies on the government. I think the private sector, you know, the media, you know, recently I saw something that was going around. I think Tyler Perry released a film called Straw.
Exactly.
And there's been so much talk about it on our social media pages and stuff. And I said, I don't remember getting this kind of attention when I have released a film. Do you understand? And so it's not balancing. Why are we talking about Tyler Perry's movie when, you know, we could easily have that same attention come to a Sheriff Mpoman's movie? Do you understand? We have put films there that critically, you know, examine a lot of things. Recently, we released a film called Chasing Lullaby on Mother's Day.
Right.
You know, it's a film that we shot a few years ago, and then we released it on our YouTube page. You know, and you should see the film. You know, it's a beautiful film that talks about mothers. You know, in all forms, and you know, and I didn't see the media pick it up and make a whole song and dance about it like they're doing with Tyler Perry movie. He doesn't care about us. We have to care about our own. We have to push our own. Do you get? And that's what Nigeria is doing and doing effectively. They push their own. They promote their own. They support their own.
We support our own.
Yeah.
And I do not agree with Shelley on that. We do support.
Maybe it's a market trend, consumer behavior. You know, many Ghanaians or Africans who want to consume foreign, you know, so it could also be a factor.
But I mean, when she said that, you know, we don't support our own
support in terms of
media. She mentioned media. She mentioned, you know, everybody who is involved when it comes to.
How about going to buy these films actually? Pay for.
Well, we don't sell on CDs anymore. We go to the movies.
Okay.
And I think that she's done that, you know, over time. She's had a fantastic career. Shelley had a fantastic.
But the theater thing is based in Accra. Do we have some in other cities like Kumasi and all those things?
Yeah.
Maybe to expand it so people can have access to go. If you are in Ho, for instance, you can go to the theater to watch and all that.
People do. I think that we should find a way of solving this particular problem of blaming people for not supporting.
The local.
There should be, you know, something that can get all these creatives. I know that they put in a lot of work, but that there should be like I don't know what it is, but we should find a way of solving that particular problem that keeps creeping in for them to feel that they aren't getting the support that they need.
Okay. But the media is doing it bait in that regard.
That is where I'm coming from. I do that all the time. We do that all the time here on Joy News, on Joy Prime, on all our platforms. So you cannot say that we don't, when it comes to the media, I'm very passionate about that because we do that. We cover all their events, we talk about them. There's my jawline all there. When you go there and you type Shirley Frimpong, so you get, you know, a whole lineup of things that she's done that we've projected. So there should be a way. But speaking of Tyler Perry, he's found himself in hot waters as an actor from his popular series, The Oval, accused him of sexual assault and harassment, a claim Perry's team has dismissed as a scam, according to TMZ. Derek Diskson filed the lawsuit claiming he met Perry at an event in 2019. In his account, Perry singled him out of the crowd and requested his phone number, suggesting a potential role in a future project. Diskson landed a small role in the show Ruthless, but his relationship with Perry allegedly took a turn when, in January 2020, the director invited him to his Atlanta home, hoping to cultivate a friendship that will lead to more opportunities. Diskson went, but after drinking too much, allegedly, he ended up sleeping in a guest room. In court documents obtained by TMZ, the actor claimed Perry joined him in bed, touching his thighs despite being rejected. He asserts that Perry continued to show interest in him after his encounter. The actor soon received a role as Dal on The Oval, a part he describes as a gay homeless store clerk who sleeps with others for shelter. He claims Perry expressed a desire for a real-life partner who would demonstrate loyalty and dependence, fearing career repercussions. The actor claims he downplayed Perry's advances by stating he was not the sexual type, but felt anxiety about losing his job if he reported the harassment. So this is actually a developing story. Mr. Perry, his lawyers have come out to say debunk the rumors, but I mean, it's still a developing story. So we'll be telling you more about this particular story, obviously in our subsequent bulletins, but that will end
the bulletin,
show,
and you can log on to myjoyonline.com for more stories. My name is Carlos Kaloni.
My name is Becky.
Bye-bye.